always start with a little dance. I think it's to, hi guys. Okay, oh, let me get in here to type this in here. Hi, happy Thursday. If y'all follow me, y'all know I be going live on Sundays. Hi, hey, hey Doxy, hey Potts. Hello, Denaria. Hi, Vision Vagabonds. Hey, y'all. Hey, that's my student. Hello. Hello. Oh, y'all, hold on. Let me type this in and then, okay, what are we talking about? Oh, coping with racial. Coping with. Hey, y'all. Hello. Hello, the natural poet. Oh, hold on. Ace is requesting.
Oh, I didn't.
Hello, everyone. Hello. You're welcome. Thank you for joining, Jerica. I appreciate you. Marion, hey, okay, got a fellow photographer. What up? Hey, hey. Hey, Bridget. Okay, let me type in this title, Coping with Racial Trauma. In my last live, I learned how to pin it. It's always a learning process. And pin it. We're going to pin it. Oh, you have to double click it. You don't hold it, guys. If you want to pin something, you don't hold it. You double click it. Okay. Oh, we're supposed to be going live. We're going live with Facebook too. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys. We're going to let a couple more people get in. I know y'all are wondering who this gorgeous woman is right next to me. But we'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Okay, Facebook. Okay.
Now I can like pop on Facebook.
All right. Hi, Facebook. I'm just going to be super honest. This is Jazz. Hello. Hi, guys. My sister Courtney. I'm going to be super honest. I'm going to pay attention to Instagram, but I just want you to be a part of the experience. Okay. We're going to be talking about how to cope with racial trauma. Okay, Instagram. Back to you guys. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Oh my gosh. Hello, Crystal. Hey, y'all. Hello. Locks is popping. Hey, Racine. I was about to call you a nickname. Sorry. All right. Let's get started. I mean, people will come on. But seriously, y'all, thank you for joining this live on a Thursday evening. My name is Gisela. If you do not follow me or you just happen to pop on, my name is Gisela McKeel. I'm a creative branding and lifestyle photographer. This is my line sister.
Hello.
Actually, my link. I'm going to let her, you're grown. You can
Hi, y'all. So, yeah, I'm new to this. My name is Courtney. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Her Temple, Her Crown. And I'm here to support my line sister. My link in her live tonight. And hopefully I say the things she needs me to say and not be, extra.
Okay. Good job. I'm definitely pushing her out of her comfort zone. She'll be okay. Tanisha, can you okay. We're going live with Tanisha. I requested you. We're waiting on you.
Yes.
There she goes.
Hello.
Hello, Tanisha.
Hey, hey.
See y'all's beautiful faces.
All right. So, hello to everybody that joined. Hi. I hope y'all doing wonderful. So, Ace, can you introduce Tanisha? So this is my line sister as well. Okay, so we're just gonna. This is my line sister as well, but she is a licensed mental health professional. So, Ace, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight and going live. My name is Tanisha Pope Potts. I am a licensed clinical social worker. And so I do work in the mental health field, and I do have experience with working with people with trauma. So today we're definitely, the topic is talking about racial trauma. So we're just going to talk about some tools and some practical steps to kind of keep us going with everything that's going on currently right now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Y'all, let me tell Facebook something real quick. Facebook, I'm so sorry. On Instagram, Tanisha is on Instagram, and y'all won't be able to hear her. So I'm gonna stop this live, and I'll just upload it. So bye, Facebook. Okay. Okay. All right. So I just want to briefly talk about like how this whole thing came to fruition. Like seriously, when I heard about George Floyd, I could not stop crying. And y'all, in the comments, can y'all just tell me like how y'all felt, or like is it in a couple words like how y'all felt when y'all heard when y'all heard and y'all saw. When I saw it, I just could not stop crying. And I have to be honest, like with a lot of the other people felt numb, defeated, like I was enraged. But this is the first one that hit me where I'm like crying, like could not stop, angry, disappointed. And so like I called my line sister, I called Tanisha, and I was like in tears when I was calling, and I was like, we have to do something. Like, how do we, I might cry. And then at that time, you may see a little, but I was just like, how, like, we have to still live. Like, we have to still, like, I still have to do work. Like, I still have to, you know what I'm saying? But yet I can't sleep. I can't, I'm like, what do we do? Like, seriously. So it was a thing that, I knew we had to have some type of conversation, not only because of what's happening, but there had to be some type of conversation to where we look on the inside of us, because there's a lot of external things that have to happen. But what do we do when you can't sleep and we're not performing at your job correctly because you haven't got rest because another Black man, died in front, pretty much like you've seen it, because of racism. So it's just like I wanted to have a conversation because I'm really big on mental health. I've been going to therapy for about a year and a half. And I'm huge on it. And I know the importance of self-awareness, and I know my triggers, and I know all these things, but I didn't know how to handle this. And I know other people felt the same way. And so the purpose of, this conversation is for it to be real, and if y'all have things to say in the comments, or if y'all have questions, if y'all look on the bottom of your live, there's like a question tab or a question button, because we're definitely going to have questions that Tanisha can answer, being a mental health professional, that will help. So I knew there had to be some type of conversation, not necessarily about what happened, but how do we deal in our daily lives in order to continue on. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, Tanisha, I really appreciate you for being a part of the conversation, and sharing your gifts, for us. So I think the first thing we're going to talk about, like really, in your professional point of view, what is racial trauma?
Okay. So racial trauma, I will just kind of break it down, and just let's start off with trauma. So trauma is basically a disturbing, distressful event. So if we tie it back together with racial trauma, we're basically talking about a racial incident that's disturbing, that's distressful, that's causing all of the feelings that you all are putting in the comment section below. And so repeated exposure to this and repeated events. And when we look at things from a historical standpoint, when it comes to the Black community and African Americans, going all the way back to slavery and thinking about the things that's going on today, there's repeated exposure to it. So it's disturbing, and it's creating a lot of different emotions, which is completely understandable. And so that all can lead to anxiety, that all can lead to fear, that can all lead to suspicion, it can all lead to anger, because there's a lot of feelings as far as like, when is this going to stop? When are things going to change? And so what we really have to just focus on is our like mental health and our mental well-being, because it can take a toll on us. It can change the way that we think. It can change the way that we feel. It can change how we're functioning at work, how we're caring for our families, how we may hold on more tighter because we're afraid. We don't know. We're definitely in a time of just unprecedented times. So with everything going on, it's just creating a lot of fear and just a lot of anxiety.
Right, right. And Shorts, you can definitely, say what you need to say whenever you need to say it. So you say like repeated exposure to these things. And I think that may have been one of the reasons why this particular incident like just hit me so hard, is because y'all, we're going through a lot. Like, people don't have jobs, people are stressed because of, corona. Like, there's a lot going on, 2 weeks ago, about Ahmaud Arbery. Like, it's too much, right? And so I think that's one of the things. And especially, I know we talked, last night we talked about just seeing it repeatedly on social media. And so can you talk about that, about, what are some practical things that we can do to protect our mental health, knowing that if we turn on a TV, if we go somewhere and we see a TV on, like, what can we do to protect our mental health when this is everywhere?
Okay. So I know we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're definitely talking about social distancing, right? And so with social distancing, we're trying to connect, and social media allows us to do that. Where we stay connected, we can FaceTime our family, friends, and loved ones. We can do Instagram Live. But there comes a point where we have to be self-aware, like you were saying earlier. We have to know ourselves and our body. We have body cues. We all know when we're getting angry. We know when we're getting frustrated, when we're getting sad. And so if you're on social media and we're reading article after article after article after article, comment after comment after comment after comment, it's just refueling, right? It's just making us even more angry. It's making us even more sad. It's making us even more frustrated. So we have to get to the point where we have to log off, right? And that's hard, because we want to stay connected. We want to see the comment that somebody's going to make. We want to see the next post. So we definitely have to get to a point where we just log off. And it's really for our own mental health. It's all for our own emotional well-being. And we have to just know when enough is enough. And that may require 24 hours of not connecting through social media. That may require 48 hours of not watching your posts and anything like that. And I know it's challenging. I know it's hard, because that's how we're wired now. We want to be connected. We want to know what's happening and what's going on. So I think that's one practical step that we can do, is just basically know, like, enough is enough and I have to log off. And it's more just for my emotional well-being.
So, Tanisha, you're talking about logging off, right? So, I certainly have to log off, or I won't scroll through my Instagram post. If I need to post on Instagram or something like that, I'll just post, but I won't go look through the feed, right? I barely get on the Facebook, but now it's everywhere on Facebook, so I'm certainly not going to get on there. But, what about those of us who know how to log off and we know how to kind of distance ourselves from social media, but you can't necessarily get away from family or friends who mean well?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's hard. When it all happened, the first time I heard about it was through a family group message. And it said, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable. This is still happening," or something like that. And I just saw the thumbnail to the video. And all I saw was that officer's white, smug face, right, in that position that he was in. And I instantly deleted the entire thread in my text messages. And we have pictures and everything else. The entire thing is gone. My lovely week here was going through it. We spent this whole week together. And I'm attempting to avoid it. But, she was feeling some type of way. We were on the phone and she says, "I'm not doing well." And I can tell she was crying. And I can't get away from that, and I can't say, "Nope, don't talk to me about it." But I just have to be there for her. But you see, those types of things will trigger that, triggered in me. And so while I certainly try to hold it all together and not look at anything, not listen to anybody, eventually I just had to surrender and the experience that hurt.
Mhm.
But, you know, and I cried my little eyes out. But it's just like, how do you avoid it? Or what do you do when you are inadvertently exposed to something like that and your efforts fail and try to avoid it?
That's a good question.
We definitely have to validate one another, right? And we have to understand what, as a community, what we're going through. So we definitely want to allow that freedom, that opportunity, because we may not have that space nowhere else, right? We may not have anybody else that we can go to. So we definitely want to allow that space. If you're placed in a situation where it's just like, I can't log off, I have to be exposed to this, then that means you just have to take care of yourself after the fact, right? So things can be listening, it can be prayer, it can be meditation, it can be relaxation. I don't know if everyone's aware, but Black Lives Matter meditation that's out there. And it's really helpful because it states positive affirmations about our culture and just about us. When society tells us things different, basically helping us remember who we are and the beauty of our culture and the beauty of who we are and all that we possess, and how we're great, right? We're great and we're of greatness, and we will continue to be of that nature. And so that meditation can definitely be helpful. It's by Dr. Candace Nicole Hargens. And so it's called the Black Lives Meditation. Listen to something like that. Maybe let that be the last thing that you do at night. Maybe if you can't log off, maybe don't log on before you go to bed, right? So if you have to stay attentive to social media and know what's going on throughout the day, before you go to bed, give yourself some peace and relaxation, because what that is doing is putting your body at a calm state so you can sleep. If your body is heightened and if you're frustrated, you're mad, you're not going to be able to sleep. It's hard, it's difficult, it's going to be on your mind. You're going to have intrusive thoughts throughout the night. So maybe just have some relaxation, some meditation, some prayer, some self-reflection. Do those type of things before going to bed, so that way it can help you throughout the day. If you're at work and people are trolling or people are saying different things, take some time to yourself. Get that 5 or 10 minutes to just be able to self-reflect. If you have to text someone who you feel like can relate to you and can understand where you're coming from, take the time to text them really quickly, and just to get that validation and that affirmation. And so that way you can go back to that work environment, or you can go back and discuss those things, because the reality is, like, we have to, like, life isn't stopping, unfortunately. It's not stopping.
Right, yeah.
Like, how to cope and how to get through all of this, because it's hard. It's hard. And it's not sometimes a one easy answer on, like, do this and it's going to make everything great. It's not turn out that way. It's just a matter of different methods that we have to do, and we have to try to just keep us pushing and to keep us going.
Well, unless you're on a conference call at work and it's just dismissed. Well, it's not our problem. It didn't happen to us. It's so sad that people in the world do that based on your skin color. I'm like, look, it's bigger than that.
It is.
Meanwhile, I'm on the clock, so I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I kind of want to go back to is self-awareness. And I know when I started my therapy and mental health journey, that's the first thing that my therapist, we talked about. It talks about who I am. He literally started from what's the meaning of my name. And so, yeah, I might talk about that one day. It's really good though. Name your children good names, people, because they mean something. Anyways, but it started self-awareness. And so I know I always say self-awareness is king, because it's like, because I know my triggers, because now, because I've done the self-work to know myself so well, I know what makes me mad. I know what I can handle. I can feel myself getting angry. I can feel myself getting sad, all these things. But I think that also goes along with, and I'm probably making this term up, like racial awareness, only because I'm probably making that. Yeah. But the thing about it is just like,
I'm with you.
The thing about it is just like, I had to look in the mirror when I was looking at myself and saying, okay, Jazz, this is who you are. This is who you've been. This is what you've been through. You are this way because of this. You know, you are this way. You may want to change this about yourself. And I think that's true. I don't think that we should go along and act like nothing has happened, or I don't think we should go along and say, I think we have to look and know that this is reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can't just be like, no, America, whatever. This is the reality. It's almost
really
like, it is very hard.
Yeah.
But self-work is hard, right? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like looking in the mirror of our country and saying, not making any excuses for anything, but saying, this is the reality. And I think if we start there and recognize that this is the problem that we're facing with, point blank, period, right? Mm-hmm. And once you get there, you can start to implement these strategies in order to live, in order to do what you need to do on a daily without being so severely affected. This is not by no means that by no means am I saying you'll be picking daisies or whatever throughout the day. This is difficult. And it's gonna be hard.
And not only is it hard, but it's hard, it's scary. I mean, I think about our ancestors, not too long ago, when our grandparents were kids and, before that, I'm grateful to be able to walk into the front door of a restaurant, right? Or to do anything I want to without being afraid to be killed, like our grandparents and great-grandparents did, right? I couldn't imagine being at church and all of a sudden it's on fire. So, but it's like we've gotten used to being free, and that's how it should be. But for the first time, I have really felt like afraid, Like I have a little brother that's back home from college, and he's out there living his life, walking around, and I am genuinely afraid.
Yes.
And I feel like I need to stay in the house, or I'm looking left and right. So it's really hard to navigate the world that way.
Yeah.
It most definitely is. And so I think knowing that, because I had the slightest trigger, if I can say that, I had the slightest trigger. I literally, I'm at my line sister's house, and she has all these beautiful windows, and a white person was running with no shirt on. My immediate thought, it wasn't like, how sometimes you just look up and look back down. My immediate thought was, a Black person couldn't do that. Or if they did it, they'll be looked at as aggressive, or, why are they running like this? Or they'll be killed from running. And so it's just you'll have to recognize the fact that those thoughts can even go through our head at a split of a second. That's your opportunity right there to either do something to stop those thoughts, right? Or like Ace was saying, Tanisha was saying, implement something right there at that point. Because my mind could have went one or two ways. There's a white person, a Black person couldn't do that. I could have either then be like, man, let me get back on Instagram. And then I would have dwelled on those thoughts, right? I would have cussed my line sister out for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's just unfortunately, all of this is unfortunate, that we have to do these things and implement these systems and strategies just to live. But you have to start guarding your thoughts as if you were a freaking gatekeeper, because it can go either way. It's horrible, but we have to start doing that simply because it can go left, and it can go left quick.
It can.
Right?
And we have to look at protecting our mental health as if like we do our physical health. It's just as important. Just like we go to the doctor if we're sick, or to get a checkup, annual or yearly exams. That's how our mental health is as well. We have to make sure, there's different keys to wellness. There's spiritual, there's physical, there's, nutrition, there's exercise, there's different parts of it. Those are all things that we can do to contribute to the mental health, because you're absolutely right, Jazzy, that those are triggers. Those are things that can actually add fuel to the fire, right? If we're seeing something on TV and then we look outside and we're reminded of differences, or, oh, I wish I could freely do this and not worry about things, it does make you angry. It does make you upset. And so what we just have to do is, the great thing is that you had that self-awareness. You were aware that that was adding fuel to the fire. And it sounded like you were able to kind of bring yourself back. And it doesn't mean you were okay with it, right? It doesn't mean that you were saying that that was fine and this should be this way. No, that's not what you were saying. What you're saying is you were basically helping your mental health and your sanity, like your post said earlier, just making sure that you were okay so you can keep moving. So you can keep moving ahead, because what things can do, it can hurt your ability to function, right? And that's when we really go into the mental health aspect. Is more of how's it impacting your ability to function, your ability to live life on a daily basis. And unfortunately, what's going on is impacting the Black community, because we are afraid to function normally, or we are saying like, well, if I try to be normal, is something going to happen because of events that's happened? So yes, we do have to be self-aware of that as well, but it's also a matter of us being self-aware of ourselves and our own thoughts for our own mental health.
Can you talk a little bit about like PTSD? Because that really is what racial trauma is. And to be honest, it is woven in our fabric. You know, we are connected to our ancestors, excuse me, like it's woven in our fabric, and the pains, you know, that they had to endure, right? I mean, that's who we are. And so just from history, like we're still dealing with that, you know, and it's not even the fact that history repeats itself. It went nowhere. Like it's been consistent, you know? So I think every time that we see something or every time something happens, it is a form of PTSD of the things that we've been through. So if you could elaborate on just PTSD in general and how this connects with racial trauma.
Yeah, and I would say in the mental health profession, there's definitely more research that is currently being done, because we're seeing more and more of this within the profession. And also within the profession, more diversity, and then also more cultural competence. So that way, when a person of color who experiences racism, experiences discrimination, comes to a therapy setting and talks about these type of things, the clinician is actually prepared and know how to handle this, and will identify that racial trauma, where we're talking about that because of repeated exposure or repeated occurrences, that it is creating a heightened sense of anxiety and fear, where there could be someone may be afraid to go to a particular place out of fear of what's going to happen to them. They may avoid that. There could be repeated exposure as far as like rethinking of an event or reliving that particular event. So there's different criteria that go with PTSD. I don't want to get into all of those, but definitely I would just say like reliving that experience can definitely be something that's hindering the topic we're talking about. And then also thinking about avoiding certain places because out of that fear, where I don't want anything to happen to me, or even that, like I had an incident where my husband was gonna go running in the neighborhood, and I was just like, wait, I don't know where you going. Is your iPhone on? Can I track you? You know, things such as that. So, I mean, I'm a therapist, but even I have that fear, you know, because of what's going on and things being real. So it's even, I mean, that can be an example of a symptom of PTSD. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the diagnosis, but those can definitely be symptoms of it.
Wow. And so you said there's a lot more research being done about cultural competence for therapists and mental health professionals. And I know we were on a talk together, a while back or whatever. But can you just, even because I know if you're in therapy on here, and if you don't mind sharing, you should be excited by being in therapy because it's life changing. But if you're in therapy, like, can you just let us know? I just want to see, because I never thought about that. Like, before I went to get a therapist, like, are you culturally competent? But that's powerful, because I know sometimes we go to therapists just because our insurance covers it. We go to therapist location. Oh, yeah, down the street. So there's so many reasons why.
Or there's not enough Black mental health professionals.
Yes.
I think that's a big deal too. And I don't think there's any worse feeling. Listen, I know we do our best to be honest and real, but if you are a white therapist or a mental health professional and you have a Black patient and you have, I don't know, a Make America Great Again bumper sticker on, I doubt that you'll be able to truly connect with that patient and understand how they feel. Or if you believe that that police officer was justified and you happen to be a mental health professional, and you don't know that as a patient, that you're sitting in that person's office, right? And they're going home and they're looking at the news and they're like, whatever, he shouldn't have been selling drugs, or he should have just complied, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you show up to their office and trying to get some help, Yeah. And I think that's difficult to deal with or to accept that that's probably the case for a lot of us if we're not going to a Black mental health professional.
Yes,
that's true.
And more more awareness is being brought to that. I can definitely say that. And I don't know, like Taraji Henson, she has a nonprofit organization, and it's in regards to mental health. And those are things that she talks about, is like culturally competent therapists. And she even talks about different therapists that you can go see. There's definitely different social media outlets. Therapy for Black Girls. I listen to the podcast all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely know that we're progressing in the mental health profession. Not saying that we are all the way there yet, right? But we are definitely progressing. And I've been to trainings where we're talking about being culturally competent. We're talking about racism. We're talking about people of color and oppression and discrimination. So we're definitely talking about those things. So the more we continue to have those trainings, the more culturally competent therapists that we'll have in the profession, no matter what their race is. Just being able to know how to work with an individual of color and what they may experience, for you to be able to be empathetic and to understand things, and to not even misdiagnose as well when it comes to that, because then you have a better understanding of the culture.
Right.
Can Tanisha see the comments on the screen?
Can you see the comments, Ace?
Yeah.
Somebody, I can't really see this. Lil Arena _AS. Mm-hmm. She said, what did she say?
Cultural competence will minimize bias and decrease chances of over
pathologized. What?
I promise I got 2 degrees, y'all. I promise.
I promise I do too.
Over.
Just like the first part. Just over pathologizing.
I
Ace got it. Okay.
You're absolutely right. Cultural competence will do that. It does minimize bias, because then you have a clearer understanding of someone's culture. And a lot of times your culture may shape the way that you think, right? Or it may shape the way some of your behaviors, because it's coming from a culture perspective. So yes, I agree.
And so do you feel, just as well, I don't know if you can answer this. Okay. So, I guess someone that is not right. I'm like, it's your job or not. But I guess, what questions can we ask a mental health professional to see if they're culturally competent?
That's a good question.
Ask them about their trainings. A lot of times we do have CVs where we list, or we have all of our information in regards to trainings that we've provided. Ask them if they have provided therapy to someone who may have experienced something particular to you. Just because we all have our specialties, right? We all have our concentrations. So if there is something that's outside the scope of what I traditionally practice, I'm going to refer that person out, right, to someone who's more knowledgeable and trained in that. So definitely ask those questions and get that information, and then that can kind of let you know if that may be the right fit or the best fit for you. Another thing is, before your first session, see if you can do a consult. Talk to them on the phone before you even go meet with them on person, before you meet with them in person. It can be 10 or 15 minutes. See if y'all have that vibe, that rapport, because that rapport is huge. It matters, because that's what's going to make you comfortable, because with telling someone something you may not have told anyone ever in your life. So that rapport is very important. And so if you don't feel like y'all have that rapport, or y'all's vibe isn't mixing, that's fine. Seek someone else. As therapists, we know not to take that personally. We're human at the end of the day. Everyone is not going to vibe in the right way. So if you don't feel like you're the best fit, or I'm the best fit for you, I'm more than happy to provide you a referral to someone who may be a better fit for you, or you're more than welcome to seek someone else.
You know, I think it's important also, maybe I'm just being a little picky, but you talk about comfort, but even the office staff, I mean, I know we can't necessarily have a consultation with the receptionist at the front desk, but that attitude matters too.
Important.
It's from the top.
I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know what everyone else's experiences are, but sometimes you can go to any doctor's office, and I mean, how they treat you when you're checking in could make or break your visit. And so when you're coming out of a therapy session or some other mental health professional's office, you know, tearful, you know, last thing you want to do is come across somebody who's just like, yo, you know, crybaby.
And I just want to put this out there, like, just because they're Black, still ask these questions, because people come from all different type of threads of life. So, you know, still ask those questions, because it works both ways. It definitely works.
Rolling dice, but I mean, I'll bet on Black though. You know,
yes, but still, you know, let's ask those.
I got it. You know,
let's ask those questions. Yesterday.
I want to go back to what Courtney was saying too. With the receptionist, that's very important. There is something called being trauma informed that we talk about in the mental health community, and it's basically understanding the impacts of trauma and being sensitive to that. And a lot of that has to do with, like, someone who has experienced trauma may speak differently, right? You know, initially, until they're able to calm. They may think differently or have different thoughts initially. And so basically we need to be sensitive to that. We need to meet them where they are. What we do is kind of help what's called like regulation, which is help calm someone down, because when we're calmer, we're able to maybe think more clearly. We're able to maybe express ourselves a little bit better, in regards to actually being able to communicate to someone, like, this is what I'm thinking. This is why I may be doing what I'm doing. So we have to be trauma informed, and that just kind of goes back with the training of mental health clinicians. And it's very, very important, because like what Courtney said, anyone from janitorial services to anyone from the front desk to anyone that's scheduling the appointments to the therapist behind the doors, like, everybody in the office needs to have some sense of being trauma informed, because that's what makes people feel comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you don't want to go back. You don't want to share your darkest secrets. And unfortunately, if this is your first experience, it can make you say, that's not for me. I'm not going to do this. I'm done with this. And then unfortunately, that person may never reach out and try to help resolve some of those issues that they may need to work on in therapy, unfortunately, because of that experience.
Yes. And we have a question from someone, I think, you know. But he said, how can we help Black men feel more comfortable seeking mental health services? This is such a huge thing. And I'm very excited, because I know I see more Black men talking about mental health. I had a branding client today. He is a therapist, and, you know, that's what he wants to do. But yeah, how can we do that?
Yes. Break the stigma, right? That is the biggest thing, especially when we talk about the Black community. a lot of times it's a stigma over going to mental health. And I think it was a sense of, oh, if I go, they're going to think I'm crazy. Or what happens in my house stays in my house. Yeah. Or, oh, just pray about it. You don't need to go talk to anybody else about it. It'll just work its way out.
That is the worst advice.
So those are different things, unfortunately, that have been said in the Black community that may hinder or prevent someone from wanting to seek out those services. But there is nothing wrong. Like I said earlier, it's like going to the doctor for your mental health, for your brain, for your emotional health, and embracing it. Not, when our friends talk about it, commend them, because it takes a lot of courage to go and talk to somebody and tell somebody the things that you are struggling with and dealing with on a daily basis. That is courage. So we definitely need to commend our friends for doing that. When we talk about it and we make it more socially acceptable, it makes it easier for others to be able to go out and seek that treatment as well. And I think I think someone said break that man box, and that's absolutely right. Masculinity does not mean that you don't have feelings. We have feelings. We all have feelings, and there's nothing wrong with having feelings. And it's okay to feel. That's the other thing, letting people know it's okay to feel.
And I think it starts by raising sons that you tell this to. Let your sons know that, especially your Black sons, right? Like, it's okay to feel, and feelings is truly power. Like, self-awareness is power. And I think I work for a podcast or whatever, and a yogi person that does yoga was on there, and he does like little poses with his 5-year-old son, and so it's just like, from there, his son will be raised being, open-minded and, clear and free, and can see things differently and changing their perspective and things like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying go out and start having children so you can raise them right. But if you have them, we can definitely, teach them, or just if you're around people, a nephew, like back then it used to really be like a village. You know what I'm saying? And me coming from my educational background, it's just like, no, like, I know kids now are really disrespectful.
I think, the answer, to put my 2 cents in on that question about how to make Black men more comfortable, I think we can lead by example. I think our generation, we're having this conversation. So our children will be in therapy, right? And so I think from a young age, these Black boys will grow up into Black men who will be comfortable. But so we're on the front lines of this. And I think we're the first to kind of overcome this. But I think leading by example, meaning, you can influence or make a Black man comfortable if you're in a relationship with them, if you're married to him. Babe, I'm struggling. I need to go to therapy. Come with me. Somebody said, I think Lauren said, help them take the first step by saying, hey, I can help you research something. And, again, take that first step. If you have children, perhaps you can put those kiddos in therapy. And then as their dad, I think that will help kind of say, you know what, okay, if my kids are going to therapy, my young Black son is going to therapy, maybe it's not so bad for me to go. I think there are several different ways we can probably make Black men feel comfortable, but I guess we need to work on the ones that don't have those types of influences.
It's really important that we just continue to uplift our Black men, with everything that's going on, and helping, our Black men just know that, you're important and you matter. You matter. You are important. And doing those type of things, and even like encouraging, even if they do go to therapy, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you for going and taking that step and making that commitment, because that's another thing. Therapy is a commitment. You get into it what you put into it. It is not the therapist's job to fix things. We're not advice givers where we're like, do this and this will fix it. No, we help you process it. We help you heal. We help guide you to what you feel like is the best thing for you. So definitely when they take those steps, just uplift them, not just in therapy, but in life in general, especially with everything that's going on.
Yes, most definitely. And that's, I really want us to kind of like normalize calling, our Black men, even if they're mixed. Because usually sometimes they, but just kings. Because my friend just texted me, it's like even mixed people, even if you're mixed, so
I mean,
still
well, society sees mixed people
as
as black.
Black, right?
I mean, but that goes, we put a positive spin on it today because, we're going to claim them because they're black. But back in the day, I mean, it was like contamination, right?
Right.
One drop, oh, you're black. So, no.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're black.
Yes. So we're I don't want the live to end because we only have an hour. But I wanted to kind of review a little bit, and talk about just kind of review those practical ways. And Ace, if you do anything specifically, I know for me, one of the practical ways that I do it, like I said, it's really about what goes in here, in here, in your eyes, in your ears, like in your heart. And I think that is important because you have to kind of put a cap on it. So, and also what you talked about, like at night, I personally listen to worship music at night, especially if I don't feel settled. I just have it playing. Like we are spirits, and your spirits don't sleep, and so that can be calming. Not your thing. Like you have like Zen music, ocean music. That just a calming thing that just can feed your soul for real while you're sleeping. So that's one of my main practical ways I've had to do that because I know like there would be unrest. And so if we can just kind of review some more of the other practical things we talked about that can literally just do our best to keep us sane through this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, it's a couple that I'll use, like the other night, when things were heavy, just watching the news and looking at everything going on. I watched a Disney movie.
Yes. That helps.
Because I'm like, it takes me back to childhood, right?
Yeah.
Or it takes me back to that place. And so I will watch a cartoon movie and I'll watch a Disney movie. I'll watch reruns of Martin. It's always on TV. And so it's something that makes me laugh. So sometimes that's the other thing. I may need something that's going to make me laugh. Another thing that I'll do, emotional. That's something else that I'll read as well. Sometimes I'll do that first thing in the morning, before turning on social media, before turning on the TV or anything like that. It's like, let me get my mind right before I start my day. And or another thing can be, after work, just taking a nice, hot, quiet bath or a nice, hot shower.
With a little drink on the side.
Else that I can do where it's just me, myself, and I can just relax, and I can just, there's something called grounding, and grounding means like being in the present and being in the moment. And so when I ground myself, it's just bringing me to the moment. It's making me self-aware. So I'm listening to like, okay, how are you feeling at the moment? Is your heart beating really fast or is it beating really slow? So then I know what state I'm in. And once I know what state I'm in, then I know how I need to proceed. If I'm in a good state or if I'm not in a good state, then I need to do something about that.
Yeah. And I know another powerful thing that is powerful in general, but you said it's just Black Lives Matter affirmations, right? I do affirmations on a daily, but if you don't know what affirmation is, it's literally a statement of positivity that you can either repeat or you can say,
like what? Give me.
I am powerful. I am wealthy. I am beautiful. I am at peace. Peace is flowing through my life like a river. I am worth being seen. All of those are our affirmations. But the fact that we can direct them to cultivate our beautiful Blackness, right? Like my skin is beautiful. I am powerful. I have to make some up, but I think that's super powerful. Just, one of my favorite artists, Samo. Y'all know Samo? Y'all know? Anyways, he has this song and it says, "We were kings and queens before we were slaves." Right? So, yes, that's who we are. And I really want to normalize us calling each other kings and queens because that's who we are to our core. We are royalty. I am royalty, right? So, those things are super powerful to not only do affirmations, but do positive Black affirmations, because we need it. We have to lift ourselves up and encourage ourselves. And I think that's one of the practical ways that, wake up in the morning, don't get on social media, right?
So
But wake up and, right, like literally. I personally, my morning routine, I wake up and I've taught myself to smile in gratitude. The first thing I do, I'm a Christian, so I thank God and I pray, but I do yoga, right? And I literally stretch my net here, sorry, y'all. I literally like stretch my body and I, go within and I truly like, start to be at peace with myself in silence or, do it however you want to do it. But that's so important because how you start your day, even before you get on social media, even before you do anything like that, that's the fabric of your day. So that's super important. You have a practical one? We're going to start asking for questions.
Well, I think those are good self-affirmations.
Yes, that's super powerful. That's super powerful.
Yes. And the Black Lives Matter meditation that I had mentioned earlier, it definitely has all of those affirmations in there. So I would definitely encourage those if you're interested to check it out. It's great. Really great.
Yeah. We need to post something. What is it called again? The what?
Black Lives Matter meditation. It's by Dr. Candace Nicole Harrigens.
Black Lives Matter meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If y'all have any questions, anybody have any questions for Tanisha as a mental health professional? If you have any questions about anything, you can put them in. I'm trying to like review to see if there were questions.
Let me see.
In the Black Lives Matter meditation. Y'all ain't got no questions? Y'all kind of been hey, y'all kind of been asking questions the whole time though. I've been seeing y'all questions. Oh, don't unpin my comment. I've been seeing y'all questions. Okay, questions. Okay, we'll wrap it up then. But Tanisha, I really appreciate you so very much. Hold on. Someone said I asked a question earlier. Oh,
I'll find it.
Hold on.
How do you ladies feel about oh, okay, so I'll read it. The question is how do you ladies feel about posting the footage of George Floyd's death? That footage was hard for me to watch as a white person, so I can't imagine how hard it is or how hard it would be for you all. So,
how do you feel?
Okay, yeah, it's inappropriate. I think it's important though that I feel two different ways. There's a little meme out there that says racism isn't new.
Racism isn't new.
It's starting to be filmed now, right? It's always been here, but now it's being filmed. So I don't like to see that. I have not watched the video. I will not watch the video. Just seeing the screenshots and the thumbnails and the comments is enough. And I won't do that because I don't want to be desensitized, first of all. It's not okay just to see people dying. This isn't a movie, right? And even seeing it in movies is, could be problematic, but that's another story. But at the same time, it's like it's important for people to see that because it's happening. So folks aren't believing it, right? And so I don't know how many times it has to be filmed for people to believe it. But so no, I don't think it's appropriate necessarily to see it. But like I said, I kind of go two different ways on it.
Yeah, I'm on the latter way. Because I think people need to see it, and I think people need to watch the whole thing. Only because it's reality, and it's back to that. This is reality. Like this is reality, and it's tough because it's tough to watch, and it is horrible that it has to be filmed and exposed, but I mean,
I don't think we're the
it's
people that need to
reality.
watch it. I think we've endured. We know it's out there. We've always known racism exists. These videos are for other people, right? We know.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about mental health tonight, and sometimes I struggle with that because I don't want to look at the video. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm deleting text messages. But then I feel guilty because it's like I need to be for the people. Y'all know I would say kind of what's on my mind. I'll call people out on their stuff. And I still have plenty of screenshots from folks in law school commenting on Mike Brown's post. I got them in my back pocket.
Just a different life.
Anyway, so but it's basically like sometimes I want to see, I want to look at it because I want to be a part of it because I'm Black and I need to be there. I need to, but at the same time, it's like I can't. So when I distance myself from it or I refuse to watch the videos, I feel guilty sometimes. It's because it's like I'm just ignoring it or, I'm not doing anything about it other than just saying, nope, it's all about me. I can't look at it, So
that's kind of deep though. Simply because, talk. You got the professional.
I just think be self-aware. Be self-aware as far as how viewing any footage can impact you. Just be aware of that because it can create an emotion after watching it. So I would just say definitely be self-aware. I can definitely understand both sides.
Yeah, me too.
Why it can be posted and basically how those can feel because it has been posted. So definitely just self-aware when it comes to how it can impact your mental and emotional health.
I totally agree. We have one more question. Ace, we have like 2 minutes. So
move fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to read. So how do you miss Black peers who don't take a stance? No, like how do you process your non-Black peers who don't? Thank you for that question, Tracy.
Sorry.
That's for you, Ace. You got professional opinions.
Okay.
Like basically, like I'm guessing Tracy is asking, like,
I mean, it's a pretty.
What do you do? Like,
how do you process your non-Black peers who don't take a stance?
For me, I think that goes back to self-awareness and what you can handle. Because if I literally start thinking about all the white people who are not posting, have not taken a side, like you'll go crazy. And so it's just like, for me, it's just like, I can't focus on that. Like, I can't focus on that. All I can focus on what I'm doing for my people, what I'm doing for myself, right? I can't focus on the people. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes. I agree. We can't focus on that. We can't control. We can't force anybody to take a position. I mean, they're having to consider their family and their feelings and their moms and aunties who feel a certain way and maybe they're afraid to take a position. Who knows? Who cares? But I kind of grieve some lost friendships sometimes because it's like you can have a great coworker or a friend from college or whatever, and then in times like this, it's just like, well, it didn't happen to you, or just whatever. They justify it or they don't say anything about it at all. Right. It's heartbreaking because we cannot maintain our friendship until you're,
right. And so I just exposes people.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, I do grieve those relationships because you don't want to just say, oh, I'm not going to talk to all white people, it's just, or non-Black people. It's upsetting to know that, dang, you actually don't care. If that were my brother in that video,
Wow, that's powerful.
And that,
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you guys so much. There's a lot to talk about. I don't believe this will be the last one. So be on the lookout. Right? But I appreciate you, Tanisha, so much for having this conversation with us. Thank you for everybody that joined in, y'all asking some super bomb questions. And I truly, truly, truly am praying for everybody. And just, like implement these strategies. Like don't just listen to the live, like implement these strategies because it literally is about your mental health and just focusing every day on trying to live through this. Unfortunately, this is our reality. But I pray for everybody. Thank you again, Link, Courtney, for joining. And this won't be the last one. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. And
thank you, Tanisha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Smart self.
Love y'all.
I'm about to call
And-
you for a therapy session, you know.
All right. Love y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Be safe, everybody.
Bye.